All right, welcome. Today we're diving into a question that is, pretty fundamental. In a world that feels so chaotic, how do we find our way? We're going to deconstruct a really fascinating system that promises to do exactly that. It blends ancient astrology with deep faith to help people map out their destiny, or as it's called, their Kismat. Let's get into it. I mean, it's a question we all face, right? When things feel uncertain, we're all looking for some kind of map, a guide, something to give us hope. It's a totally universal human need. And the answer we're exploring today is, well, it's pretty unique. So the source we're digging into offers a really powerful answer. It's this incredible fusion of Vedic astrology and Islamic spirituality. And it creates this amazing daily guide for figuring out your kismat, your destiny. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about this quest for Kismet. We're going to peel back the layers and see how this whole system is actually structured. And it all begins with the foundation it sets for one very, very specific day, Friday, February 13th, 2026. And what's so cool here is how the day itself is framed right from the start. The source calls Friday Jummah, but then it elevates it to Sultan al-Ayyam, which means the king of days. So you see, this isn't just another day of the week, it's the spiritual bedrock for everything that's about to follow. Now, before giving out any personal predictions, the source first lays out the general cosmic energy. You can think of it like a weather report for the soul, a diagnosis of the planetary vibes that are going to affect everyone on that day. First up, let's just quickly define this key term. Jummah is the Friday congregational prayer in Islam, and it's considered the most sacred day of the week. So by anchoring the entire forecast on this day, the source immediately blends that astrological timing with a really solid foundation of faith. Next up is Gochar, and this is a concept from Vedic astrology. It sounds complex, but it simply means the current movement of the planets, like where are they right now? And for this specific day, the source points out a key transit. The moon is in the sign of Capricorn. That's the next piece of our diagnostic puzzle. And the final piece of this cosmic puzzle is the Nakshatra. Now, these are basically 27 sectors of the sky in Hindu astrology. The source specifies that the moon is in the Uttara Ashadha Nakshatra, which, and this is a big deal, it says is a symbol of victory. So the cosmic diagnosis is all set. We've got a sacred day, a grounded moon, and an energy of victory. Okay, so how does this big picture diagnosis translate into personal advice for you and me? Well, with that cosmic stage set, the source then delivers specific guidance for each of the 12 zodiac signs, or rashis. This is where the diagnosis becomes a prescription. Now, we're not going to go through all 12, but this table gives you a really good feel for what's going on. For Aries, it's about a career win. For Cancer, it's about harmony in their relationships. But then look at Gemini. It's a warning, telling them to avoid big investments. So it's not all just good news. It's really about targeted, specific guidance. And this chart just illustrates the overall focus brilliantly. When we crunch the numbers on all 12 predictions, career is the #1 theme, making up about 40% of all the advice given. It's followed by relationships and finances. So what does that tell us? It shows that the guidance is heavily tilted towards practical, real-world stuff that we all think about. Oh, I love this quote. It just perfectly captures the unique voice of the source. For Pisces, it doesn't just say your wishes will come true. No, it says the stars themselves are saying amen to your prayers. It's just such a beautiful, poetic mashup of cosmic destiny and divine approval. So you've got your cosmic diagnosis and your personal forecast. But what if you want to do something about it? Take some action. Well, that brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful part of this whole guide, a very specific spiritual ritual. The source calls this a Chamakati Wazifa, which basically means a miraculous spiritual remedy. A wazifa is all about reciting sacred names or verses. So this isn't passive advice at all. It's presented as an active tool you can use to channel spiritual energy and actually change your circumstances. So the core of this ritual is chanting 2 of the names of God in Islam. Ya Latifu, meaning O the most gentle, and Ya Wadoodu, meaning O the most loving. And the choice of these names is so important. It's about calling on qualities of gentleness and love to help solve your problems. So the key thing here is the structure. It's super specific. You start and you end with a particular prayer, the Durood Ibrahimi. In between, you recite those sacred names exactly 313 times. And the final step is maybe the most crucial. Make your prayer with real sincerity and deep emotion. It's a whole, complete spiritual practice. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. What does all of this mean? We've deconstructed the what, so now let's talk about the why. What does a system like this really teach us about how people build frameworks for hope and for meaning in their lives? This slide just puts it all together so clearly. On one side, you've got the building blocks from Vedic astrology, the planet movements, the lunar mansions, the zodiac signs, and on the other, you've got these pillars of Islamic spirituality, the sacred day, the spiritual chant, the act of prayer. The source doesn't just put them next to each other, it weaves them together into one seamless, cohesive system of guidance.
So, what's the bottom line here? What should you take away from all this? First, it's that people everywhere are looking for systems to help make sense of the world. And this specific system gives a clear two-part path. First, an understanding of the cosmic forces, and second, a concrete spiritual action you can take. It's a really beautiful example of cultural blending, and its whole purpose is to provide a structured blueprint for hope.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've deconstructed one very specific system from one cultural context, but it really points to a universal human drive. So the question to ask yourself is, what systems, rituals, or frameworks, big or small, do we all create to navigate the chaos and find our own sense of Kismat?